This is the Above Average Podcast, and you are listening because you want an above average life.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Above Average Podcast, the podcast where we talk to above average people about their above average lives. Now today is probably the guest that I've known the longest, actually, other than Carl who was on a few weeks back, Miss Emma Foley. How are you doing, Emma?
Hello, thank you so much for having me on. I'm awesome, thanks. How are you?
Nice, I'm loving it. So, to get straight into it, my earliest memories of you, funny enough, I think it was how I actually got to know who you were, was you going around town on Facebook Live asking people, what was it you used to ask them? Was it what made them smile or how they felt today or something? Like, because most people would not have the balls to do that. So how did that come about? How did you start doing that? And were you scared to do that? Was that something you were nervous to do? Or did you just go up and go, oh, how are you doing?
So I started my Facebook group, the Feel Good Tribe, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was a bit into it, and I thought I want to do something different because obviously, you know, it's about spreading a bit of positivity and encouraging and motivating. So one day I just thought I'm going to do something a bit different. Yeah. So I called it the Feel Good Fridays. I think I called it the Feel Good Friday with Foley. And literally on my lunch breaks when I was at work, I'd go around and I'd start off saying, what makes you... So I'd go up to someone and say, can I just stop you there for a second? And either some people would walk past and just, well, some people would just ignore you.
Think you were selling them something or giving them a free Bible course. Yeah.
So I knew I was going to get a few rejections.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, it's character building at the same time. And then obviously I'd be holding my phone because I was like recording. And some people would say, are you recording me? And I'd say, well, yes, but it's my private Facebook group. And basically I'd start with saying, if you think of feeling good, what words do you associate with it? The reason I was doing this is because obviously there's a lot of negativity and I was getting them to direct their focus and focus on something good.
Yeah.
So a lot of people said words like sunshine, holidays, family. So then I'd maybe say, well, say if you're going to go somewhere, where would you like to go? Or if you're going to be a superhero for the day, who would you be and why? And then I'd always finish with a high five and a hug.
Oh.
So, yes, I used to do that every single Friday and I loved it. And I think the scariest one was, well, it's gone now, the Stack, in Newcastle.
Yeah.
It was on an evening, so after work, and I finished and there'd been rugby and the football on. Oh. So I went round and here's tiny me with some massive 6-foot guys. What makes you feel good?
And they were like, football!
And I was like, come on. But no, it was really good. And yes, it was the element when I thought, shit, oh my God, what am I doing? But as soon as I hit live, I just forgot all of it.
Yeah.
And I used to get such a buzz from it. And then obviously COVID happened and it sort of stopped. However, as that sort of went near the end, I know it's still ongoing. I have thought about bringing that back again because I did absolutely love it. And it did make a lot of people smile. So I'm all about the smiles, as you know.
I'm not one of those people that stops. I would never stop people on the street usually. And I'm not someone that stops for people on the street. I'm very much a person that's like, I'm going where I'm going kind of thing. But I think if someone came up to me and said that and was like, what makes you smile? It just changes people's day 100%. Like,
that's it.
To talk to a stranger as well, it gives you like a different buzz. Like, we're social creatures. We're meant to talk to other people. We're meant to have friends. We're meant to interact with people. It's like, that's why I hate going down London, because no one talks to you in London. They don't like interactions.
I've noticed that. Because, you know when you're on the bus and like, I'll naturally say, thank you.
Yeah.
But then in London, there's just like...
Yeah,
well, I've noticed.
Why did you say thank you to me? What
I was just talking to people like, oh, hi. Yeah.
But I don't think anyone should ever lose that streak. But I think people are becoming less and less social as well. But
yeah.
That actually, it got you on the radio or something, didn't it? It got you interviewed, yes.
So, how did I do that? Oh, was it? I'm just trying to remember. It was the start of whichever year it was, and I thought, right, I really want to try and get on radio.
Nice.
So I ended up trying to phone BBC Radio Newcastle, and I emailed them, and then I got a call back saying, oh, Alfie Joey would like to interview you.
Nice.
So because it was my first one, I thought, well, just like my adventure races, if you've seen some of those, I always dress up or something.
Yeah. Didn't you do like Wonder Woman or something?
Yes, I've done that. Yeah. So I thought, well, as it's my first one, I want it to be memorable and let's go all out. So I put this multicoloured tutu on top of what I was wearing. And I remember my mum and dad were like, why would you do that? And I said, just cause, why not? So he's waiting at the monument and then I just rock up to him and he's just like, oh, he's got quite high energy as well, so I think he loved it.
Yeah.
And he basically asked me a few questions about why I started it, and then he actually said, right, I want us to do like a role play, and I want you to pretend. Hold on, where's this going? This is for the later show.
Getting our way to the top. That's how you do it.
And he basically said, I'm going to pretend that I'm walking and you're going to stop me and do exactly.
Oh, right, okay.
But he purposely made it really difficult, as though he was one of the awkward people.
Right.
As though I was selling to him. But like, I actually managed it really well.
Yeah. Just like a repetition of doing it.
Yeah, and my catchphrase, can I get a whoop whoop? Yeah. So I did that in one of the questions, and all through the Friday, it was a Feel Good Friday show they used to have, and throughout the whole day, on the radio, they just repeated whoop whoop, my whoop whoop. So it's great.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, honestly, for the whole day, can I get a whoop whoop? And he loved that. So occasionally we'll exchange messages, and it'll be like whoop whoop.
Is it just a WhatsApp chat of whoop 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 whoop
Yeah,
whoop whoop?
pretty much. Yeah. You know what? I don't say that near enough now.
I thought you said it at the beginning of every live video, don't you? Do you not still do that?
No, not as much. It's terrible.
It was like 8 o'clock in the morning or something. I'd turn my phone on and it would say Emma Foley's going live.
Yeah.
And then I'd go on and it'd be like, can I get a whoop whoop? And I'm like in my pajamas going whoop whoop, like rubbing my eye with a cup of coffee and stuff.
The reason I started that was when I started taking spinning classes at the gym. And it just came to me. Obviously, you got your mic'd up and you're sweating, and I just went, can I get a whoop whoop? And at first it was an absolute fail. There was not a single response. So I remember thinking, well, this is awkward. And then I carried on, and then it was amazing because like in the end, every single person was like whoop whoop. So then I advanced it to, can I get a yeehaw as well?
Oh,
yeah.
I don't think I've heard that one actually. No, maybe you might have done that when we did, because I used to, for those of you that don't know, I used to do what I called the Proud Pod, which actually sounds like a gay radio station, really. Because you got like Pride Radio now, the Proud Pod, it would sound like that. And Emma was, I think, guest like number 3 on. I did it during COVID on Skype and things like that. And it's actually really good. And I'm pretty sure you did that on there. I think we did that at the end or something.
Maybe.
I think you asked me to do that at the end. And I was like, I'm down for anything.
Yeah.
But so going up to people in the street, so just to stay on that for a little bit, what is it you think that why people don't like to talk to people anymore on the street? Do you think it's the fact that they feel like they're going to sell, or do you think there's maybe a bit of more social awkwardness thanks to being on the phone all the time? Like, where does your mind go on that sort of topic?
I think it's varied. Automatically, people quite often will think you are trying to sell them something.
Big issue.
Or, potentially. I've got a stash in my bag now. And dealer, actually, no. That could sound not a drug dealer.
There's
by the way.
bags of white powder right behind the cameras, guys. There's bags of white powder.
Have I got any stains?
Wipe my mustache clean.
No, so I think automatically people may think that you're going to try and sell them something, or quite often if people are on their lunch breaks, they've got limited time, which is fair enough. So they just want to head down, go to the shops or whatever they need to buy in that sort of time. Or just some people just don't like to engage as much. They're not as sociable compared to others. But yeah, as I said, there was a mix of responses. Like some people were quite rude. Some people were really like energetic. I remember when I was doing the live, someone like requested to join my Feel Good tribe as I was in the live. She's like, I'm going to totally join your group. I love it.
That's amazing. How did you target the people? I say target the people as if you hit them out with a rifle, but who did you choose? How did you choose your...
I kind of was just walking along, and it was someone who was either maybe sat alone or someone I thought was interesting. For example, I targeted these Sky men. So, you know, the ones who sell Sky. And I was like, right, they try and target everyone else, so I'm going to target them.
Amazing.
So I went up to them, and I'm trying to remember, I can't remember how I started, but I basically asked them what they like doing in their spare time, what are their hobbies, and one of them said, I absolutely love to sing. I think it was maybe it was called Dave. I said, right, Dave, well, my audience would love to hear you sing to us, so why don't you like serenade me? And he was like, oh no way, man, I can't do that. I was like, come on. I said, you've got to. So he's like, oh. So then he just starts belting out a song, and it's so good. The Friday after, I went back again, and he saw me coming towards him, and he's like, oh. I said, hi Dave, it's me again.
That's amazing.
We'd like a second round.
Did he do it again?
Yeah.
Div, or whatever your actual name is. If you're seeing this, please come sing for us again. We'd love it as well. So the Feel Good Tribe is probably the thing that you're best known for. Like, if I was to think of you, I think of the Feel Good Tribe. So what was the inspiration behind starting that? Obviously, you said there's a lot of negativity, but what was obviously, you could start a group and you could just post memes in there, right? You could post motivational quotes and that could be it. But you decided to go live like every day, and you still do that now, you know what I mean? So how did it start? What was the inspiration behind that?
So I am passionate, as you know, about people, and I come to life within a community. And I think it had been, because I started it, 4 years ago, and the Christmas before, I'd been part of this group, and I think we were doing daily affirmations or something like that. And I just liked how everyone came together and chatted, and I thought, oh, I'd love to do something like that. And then I stopped and I was like, well, why can't I do something like that? So I was like, okay, so I want to do my own group. What do I ultimately want to provide, as well as a community? And I said, well, I like making people feel good. And then I thought, well, don't complicate it. Feel good, the Feel Good Tribe. So so that was the birthplace of that. And ultimately, as I said, the reason I sort of created it is because I love helping, and that is my mission. My purpose is to help others in life, and whether it's motivating, encouraging, supporting, giving them that little bit of positivity, but being real at the same time.
But you've built quite a following. Like, you've got people who are always on, and always, like, I've got a few of the ladies in your group add me and then share your stuff. So my newsfeed is just full of just
Sharon.
You. Sharon. There's another Sharon as well.
There's two Sharons.
There's two Sharons, they're always sharing it. And I'm like, okay, there's more Emma, Emma again. Oh. Yeah, so amazing. So obviously your other venture was Foley Fitness, going into the fitness side of things. So can you talk a little bit about how you managed to
I nearly went, yes.
You can do that. Bring out your entire personality. I always say true expression is the opposite of depression. So there you go. So
I like that. That.
Yeah, so obviously, how did you get into fitness? Obviously, fitness goes hand in hand with positivity and good energy. So how did you decide to do the two?
So fitness, if I take it all the way back to childhood, when I was at school, I was mainly like, it was cross country sort of thing. So it was running. So I've always sort of been, good at running, and other sports, not so good. But no,
you weren't very good at the discus or something like that.
No, any sort of ball sports like tennis and things like that, not so good. However, endurance, always been good at. Just always had that sort of level. And my fitness journey, to be honest, started when I think I was in my second year. It's either my second or third year of uni, and I was living with a couple of girls, and their friend came round and he started talking about boot camp, and I was like, oh, I really need something to do, because I felt like I'd lost my mojo and I needed, running was just, I was getting a bit bored of it, to be honest. And he said, you should join at boot camp. So I started an outdoor boot camp, and honestly, I absolutely bloody loved it. It was just the mixture. I found my competitive side came out, and I used to try and keep it with the men instead of the women, and that started my love of adventure races, because one of the guys was like, oh, I'm going to do this adventure race in March. Does anyone fancy doing it? And I was like, well, what's involved in that? So hence, that got me into that. And at the time, one of the men who was running it had sort of said to me, have you ever thought about becoming a PT? He said, making what you love into what you do. So I was working at the time, and I then did my course to become a PT. So I did that, and I didn't work in the workplace, so to speak, regarding that straight away. And then an opportunity opened up at David Lloyd. So then I went there, and then that just grew my confidence even more, because obviously I was taking group exercise classes, spinning, circuits. I started my own running club, and my first week was kind of like the baptism of fire, because I had quite a few different situations that I was thrown in.
Yeah, it sounds like you had a lot going on.
And I was like, oh my God. So no, it was good though. So it all definitely increased my confidence.
Amazing. What did it, obviously going from, it was the opticians, right, that you worked in?
So that was after.
Right.
But I was currently sort of waitressing Cafe 21, the one in Phoenix.
Oh, nice. TGI Fridays, so there you go.
Yeah.
Not waitressing, but I didn't have a skirt and stuff on. But
what?
I always wanted to go to one of the places where you had the rollerblades and you would go around.
Oh, yeah.
I always wanted to do that. But have you seen that Karen's Diner thing that's popped up as well?
So one of my friends has been talking about this. Yeah, is that when people shout abuse at you? Or something?
They're like when you go in and they instead of handing you the menus, they just throw them on the floor and let you pick them up. Like they're really
Pick this
horrible.
up, bitch.
They're horrible to you and they'll just bully you and stuff. But I've seen videos where people take like their gran and like don't tell them that it's a horrible place, and the gran's like, this is so rude, I'm never coming back here, and the gran's like kicking off. It's so funny. But yes, how did you go from obviously doing like what would be a safe job kind of thing to self-employed? Because that's kind of like that's a big jump that I think some people listening might be like, well, I'm in that position, I want to go self-employed. So what made you take that jump, and how did you go about doing that?
So this is from when I left the opticians to, so I obviously left there in, well, it was the start of April 2021. And
because that's a precarious time to leave a secure job in the
yeah,
height of COVID, so yeah.
Yeah, it was. I think the thing for me, because when COVID first hit, I was furloughed for 9 weeks and then I went back. But within the 9 weeks, I really began to think, what do I really want to do? Because even though I like the people I work with, I knew it really wasn't me. So as I'd come out of the fitness, I'd been out of the fitness industry. Like I'd left David Lloyd, God, it was about 5 years. So one of my friends had said to me, Emma, you're so good and your energy was so aligned to it. And I'd been following one of my friends and he'd done like a press-up challenge sort of video, and she said, well, why don't you do something like core exercises, and why don't you go live and get your presence up? So literally it was May 2020, and throughout the whole of the month, 6 p.m. every single day throughout May, I went live. And as soon as I hit that live video, and apparently some people just tuned in because apparently I used to go, hello everyone. I used to do this shoulder rock. Yeah, woo. And I did about half an hour core exercises. And I just got such a buzz from it, the first one, and I was like, God, why did I stop doing this? I'd obviously told myself the story, you're not meant to do it when I came out of it, so that's it. So I opened that door, and then after the month, I got my first 2 ladies. I called it at the time Feel Good Fitness, and I started my Zoom group with my ladies. So yeah, basically I was building up that, and I got a couple of PTs, because obviously back then you were allowed to train someone but outside. So thinking back now, I remember training one of my clients who's like one of my very good friends, Lee, now, and -6 in the snow, and he's out in his shorts, and I'd be like, Lee. Yeah,
it's funny you say that, because obviously my good friend Luke John Harrison, who's been on here quite a few times,
Yes.
you see him run in the sea. He runs in the sea. It's like -3 or whatever, and he's like full kit off, running in the sea. And I'm like, you are crazy. So I'm not the kind of person that's going to go and exercise in this. Apparently cold therapy is good for you. I tried the cold showers and stuff, but yeah, we'll actually get into stuff like that later on as well.
So anyway, I'd sort of built that a bit, and then it got to the point, and I just ended up taking the absolute leap of faith, and it was one of the scariest things I've done, because it's like the uncertainty. And so I left, and it's been, I was under no illusion it was going to be sunshine and rainbows, and it's still taking its time. However, I feel like I'm getting there, and as well as that, I've got a couple of other jobs I'm doing just to sort of keep me ticking along. But yeah,
because a lot of people assume that, like, obviously, because now in the social media world we see everyone running their own business, being self-employed, etc., and it's like, it's not all what it seems like it's cracked up to be. Like, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that people don't understand. Like, you've got to keep track of all your finances, you've got to keep track of everything else like that, and it's like, if you think that it's going to be, you can put CEO in your bio on Facebook and Instagram, you think it's going to be like that. It's not. There's a lot of hard work goes into it. You can't just go from one job to the other unless your other business is taking off and booming and what have you. But in terms of like a fitness business or coaching business, it's quite saturated, so you've really got to stand out. But I think what set you apart is those live videos, and the fact that loads of people don't want to do live videos. They want to write stuff, but they don't necessarily want to put their face out there. So I think you've got a massive competitive edge.
Yeah, you know what? I give credit to my granny a bit in this, because ever since I came out the womb, so to speak, the camera was there. Nice. So I've kind of always been used to cameraing away. Obviously, she's not videoed me, but no, I seem to. I just like it.
Yeah.
Hence why I'm determined I'm going to get on that stage. Actually, I am. May
yes,
time.
Yes, I'll be there with these
time.
cameras. Yep, I'll be filming you as well. I'm actually there next week filming Sam Gibson, who's filming here as well. Yeah. So obviously we talked when we spoke on the phone before this. You mentioned that you wanted to include more mindset into the movement side of things. So how are you going about incorporating that, and what sort of mindset shift are you trying to promote at the minute? What's on your mind when it comes to the mindset side of it?
So mindset, I think, I'm talking from experience. I think I told you when I had that conversation on the phone with you the other day. I think even as much work as you do on yourself, we're all human and we can let the negative emotions come in. But I think definitely what I've gotten a lot better at over the number of years is the bounce back ability. The bounce back ability. Bounce back ability. And because I would sit in the same place. So, and trying to be more, actually I did a post about acceptance the other day, and it's sort of having that little bit of kindness and acceptance of where you are.
Yeah.
And I know myself, I find that frustrating sometimes, when you feel like you've gone back the way. But ultimately, why I want to be there for people is so they feel seen, so they feel heard, and to know that I have been there. And even though, I'm not saying that I've got it all sussed, I'm still very much like on the journey, on the path, however you want to, and just say it. But I am a hell of a lot further forward than I was. So it's about what you can do to try and help you in that moment. Like, I think movement, hence the exercise, movement's one of the most powerful things for me. And it doesn't have to be hardcore exercise. Walking, I mean, I walk miles every day because it's like my release. So just getting outside, a bit of nature.
Well, human beings are meant to like, if like you've got a hard decision to make or you're feeling stressed, people say like when they get overwhelmed, I'm going to go take a walk before I make this decision. Or they're like, I'm just going to go take a walk because I need to clear my head.
Yeah.
Because you're meant to walk. You're designed to do that. And it's like when you stop doing that and you just sit down all day, like obviously I'm in the office job, but I still train. But when I sit down for long periods of time, I can't imagine not moving. I'm I need to get up and move. My brain works better when I move. So
yeah, and that's 100%. One thing I've started factoring into my week again is at least one time leaving my phone in my room as I go out, so I don't have it on me at all. And it's just so nice. It's so like calming and just
peaceful.
Yeah, knowing no one can get in contact with me, and it's just a way. So yeah, movement, and also fueling your body correctly.
Yeah, right nutrition.
Yeah, water intake. A lot of people don't drink enough water.
100% no. I've got this. It's actually over there. I can't reach it.
Yeah, mine's down here.
Yeah, it's over there. I can't reach it. But I have a 2.2 litre bottle of water that I carry around with me like everywhere. It's like attached to me. I used to have a bright pink one. I smashed it during lockdown, unfortunately.
I'm gutted that's not here today.
I know, but the reason I have
glitter on as well.
No, I don't like glitter.
What?
I don't. So I'm one of these weird people. I don't like things on my skin.
Oh, okay.
And glitter never comes off. I remember this girl when I worked at TGI's. If she listens to this, I'm still gunning for you. I'm still going to kill you. But we had this glitter spray because we put them on cocktails and stuff at Christmas time. And she knew I hated glitter, and she followed me around spraying my backside with this glitter spray. And I honestly wanted to put her in the ice crusher. So I was like, get away from glitter. But I used to have the pink water bottle because what a lot of people don't realize is, and I'm sure you'll agree with this as well, is if it's not visible, you'll forget. So with having a massive pink water bottle, you can't ignore it.
Nope, definitely can't.
If you don't have the water there, you'll not drink it. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, no, so I feel so much better when I stay well hydrated and, just eating well, getting enough fruit, veg, and not filling my body with goodness as opposed to crap.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, like as you'll know, I still very much bloody love a glass of wine.
Really? I had no idea.
Yes.
We had no idea.
Yes, I am known as Malteser girl to some people. I have a ration, right? My boyfriend laughs at this. So I literally have a box of Maltesers, I have a little bowl, and I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4. I literally ration about, and it sounds so weird, but 12 to 15 Maltesers a day. So I have them every day still. But it's because I totally don't believe in this like deprivation thing. Yeah. Because I think you should still allow yourself, because I think if you deprive yourself of everything, then it'll either make you binge. So I still enjoy myself. I'll still go out for a pizza every now and then. But again, it comes back to that balance. It's all about balance. And life is, well, and it depends on your goal as well. If you're obviously going to compete and you have to strip all your body fat, that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But if you're generally just wanting to sort of maintain and be sort of a healthy sort of it just depends on your goals. Like, everyone's different, but
one thing there is most people don't have goals, which is why we're in such an obesity epidemic, which is why most people are feeling like shit most of the time, which is why, you know, like, if you just like, eating healthy is not hard. It's not that hard. It's not that expensive either. People think, it's expensive for chicken, and chicken nuggets are so much cheaper. It's not. Have you seen the price of McDonald's these days?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just like, no. Burger King, KFC is a rip-off. I love KFC, don't get me wrong, but it's a rip-off.
And like, even if you go to places, you know, like for meal deals, and they're still going to shot up quite a lot.
Yeah, 100%. Domino's meal deal is so expensive.
Isn't a large pizza like 25 quid or something?
It's honestly ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're nice, I like them, but I don't think they're worth the money.
No.
100%. But it's not hard. It's just, it comes down to pure laziness. In all honesty, I'm sure you probably attest to that. It is laziness.
Yeah.
Like, we're in this culture now where it's a convenience-based diet. Loads of people are over-carbon and under-protein and veg because carbs are so convenient. I've said this before on this podcast. Carbs are so convenient. Pasta, you can get it in a few minutes. You know, anything you get from McDonald's is carb-loaded, anything like that. So it's just convenience, 100%. 100%. Anything else with the mindset shift? Obviously, we've got movement and healthy,
I think
water.
I talked about this again in my live. I'll keep referencing that past live I did. I know about the acceptance. I ended up going on a tangent, and it was about motivation. And I said, I know, especially talking from experience, what makes me feel better is when I feel like I'm achieving something, even if it's something small. And you know, there's that, I can't think of the exact quote, but some people think that they have to be motivated before they do something, when actually, if you just take action and do something, then the motivation sort of follows.
You get motivated from seeing the progress.
That's it. And so I know when I'm sort of in my cycle, say if I've got negative thoughts or I'm like feeling anxious, as soon as I put my mind to something or feel like I'm achieving or doing something, even do my live videos, they empower me in itself. So I think it makes you feel like you're achieving that little thing. So it's just like building blocks.
Do you write your wins? Are you one of those people that writes their wins down in journals?
I don't actually write my wins. That's something good to do.
I don't either. But me and Luke started this thing on a Monday morning. We come in and we would write down our 5 wins and 5 disappointments.
That's good.
So 5 wins, 3 disappointments, basically. So for example, it could be something small as, you know, I went to the cinema. That's a win, right?
Yeah.
Or I did this, but they compile. You think 5 a week, easy, right? But then when you compile it up over a month, over a year, and if you can visibly see that, you can go, holy shit, I had a pretty good year.
Yeah,
but most people don't do that. They're like, oh, my week was shit. And it's like, well, try and find some good in it. Like, you are in charge of your own state.
That's it.
Like, you need to sort that out,
It's like I always use the car analogy, that you are in the driving seat, so...
Yeah. Most people live like a passenger, though, which is unfortunate. But it's up to people like us and the other people that come on this podcast to try and shake people out with that. Try and wake them up and say, you have potential, you can do this. Like, you might not be like, you know, the next... I don't know, Gordon Ramsay if you want to be a chef. You're not going to be him. You're not going to be the next Joe Wicks if you're a fitness guy.
Yeah.
But there's a good chance you're still going to change people's lives. You're still going to have some good to do.
Yeah.
Like 100%. Like even if it's just working in the background, do you know what I mean? You can make a massive difference to someone's life.
Yeah. And I think I was told a while ago by a friend, focus on the power of one. So if you're helping one person, that's still amazing.
Yeah, because it spirals then, because that person then helps someone else.
That's
and then
it.
Yeah. 100%. So talking about when we talk about like the water and hydration and stuff, obviously they're very big self-help habits, I would call them, right? But one thing I want to discuss is the self-help junkie, right? So for self-help, it sounds like a lot of work to a lot of people, which puts people off. People hear self-help and go, oh, one of them self-help gurus. I mean, but actually, they're kind of right. Self-help does sound like a lot of work, especially when you've got like ice baths. You know, you got to meditate, you got to do your journaling, you've got to do your affirmations, you got to, like, it sounds like a lot to take on, and your entire life can become self-help. I know this because I did this.
Yeah.
I became a self-help junkie, and I basically filled my day full of self-help.
Yeah.
And some things, yes, you've got to stick to because they're good, but if you just fill your day full of self-help stuff, like, your entire day is gone. Your entire day has been ice baths, journaling. Do you know what I mean? It's all gone. So have you fell into that trap yourself by doing too much self-help stuff?
Yes, and I had a chat with, I think it was before Christmas, I had a chat with a friend, and we both sort of said, like, I think sometimes you can just do too much.
Yeah.
And it can make you spiral and go backwards. So I think it all, again, it's just like, people say diets, like one works differently for like everyone. I think it's the same with this as well. There's going to be certain nuggets that work well for one person. Like someone might, it depends what, some people might be more artistic. So their escape might be drawing, whereas someone might get released from playing an instrument or walking or so I think it just depends.
Well, it's funny because I was big into it, and I used to feel guilty. I went through a phase of, I'm a big gamer, right? I love my Xbox. It is my pride and joy. I love playing games. I have done since I was 6 years old. My mom bought me an Xbox. She bought me Rayman when I was 6 years old, and I loved it. So I've played it ever since. And one thing that happened to me a few years back was I started to feel really guilty for doing anything that I enjoyed, because it wasn't progressing anything. It wasn't self-help related, and I used to, I looked at it with such guilt and like, I want to play it, but I should be reading this. I've got a chapter to read in this book, or I could be doing yoga, or I could be lifting weights, and it's not a healthy mindset to be into. Now, not everyone's going to fall into that trap, but it's not a healthy mindset to have. So, like you said, some bits work for everyone. Like if you find yourself feeling miserable, write things down, find some wins, find some good in your day, and move. That could be the two things that you do.
Yeah. I think it's trying not to overcomplicate it, because if you overcomplicate it, that leads to overwhelm, and I think that's what happens when you try and do too much. So it's like the same as if someone's like, I want to lose weight, I want to do that, and they think that they have to, I can't eat this, I can't do this, I've got to do that, and I always just say, just narrow it, scale it down, and at least take two things and work on them first, and then notice how you feel.
But a lot of people, especially with weight loss as well, say, I've tried everything, don't they? They come to you and you go, I've tried everything and I just can't lose weight. So you haven't tried everything. You tried three things. You tried three things and it didn't work. But we overcomplicate things now, especially because there's so many, like, I scroll on, me and Luke talked about this, we were looking through like a YouTube adverts, like when you go on YouTube and stuff, and there was one for, it was like this undiscovered, or this newly discovered water from the rainforests of somewhere, and it was like, drink it and you'll lose weight, and it was a load of shit. Like, you're not just like, this magic water doesn't exist, right? It's like, if you want to lose
gold
weight,
as well?
Probably, yeah. It was like made from the tears of children in this outback, you know what I mean? It was something like that. But it was like, when you look at stuff like that, it overcomplicates it, and the simple fact of losing weight comes down to, for the most part, calories in versus calories out. 100%. But people are like, well, this diet should work, this is the next thing, this is the next crazy fad. We want this miracle cure, right? But when you tell people that you're not guaranteed to lose that weight, it's like, oh, well, I'll go and find something that gives me that guarantee. It's almost like we can't see the nuances of how it actually works.
Or people want rapid, like, to lose a stone in a few days or something.
I was talking to a PT the other day, I'm not going to name names, but they were on the phone with a potential client, and they asked, could you guarantee that I'm going to lose this amount of weight or whatever in this and they were like, well, no, because that's not how it works. I can't guarantee you something that you have to do. And they were angry. They were mad that this PT couldn't guarantee, and it was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, like, you need to do that work. If you want to guarantee that, you have to do that work. Like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? 100%. So, also, what are your thoughts on manifesting? Because that is massive in the self-help space at the minute.
Yeah, whenever I think of that, I think of the law of attraction, or the secret, or something like that.
I can't stand The Secret.
You can't stand it.
Have you read it?
I have, and I did watch some of it. God, it was a while ago. I
may have just shat on your beliefs, but
should I leave now?
What, he doesn't let The Secret go?
It was going so well. So manifestation, some people are really big on it. I don't manifest, so to speak. I sort of put things out there. Some people who are very spiritual, God, everything like that. I tend to say universe. I
would probably agree with that.
Universe, or like Gabrielle Bernstein, is that her name?
I don't know.
Yeah, she has an audio called "The Universe Has Your Back." So it's more about putting things out there intentionally. So that's the way I like to sort of look at it. Yeah. And I do believe, obviously, what you put your energy on, or what you focus on, the energy sort of comes back. So if you're constantly focused on negative, then you're probably going to attract that. Or whether if you have a more positive mindset and try and flip it around, then
where your attention goes, your energy flows.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like, I talk to everyone, like, because people come to me with self-help, and it's like, have you read The Secret, Adam? And I'm like, yes, but like,
I'm going to buy you that.
You're going to get it wrong. I gave my copy away, actually. But I understand people's appeal of The Secret, because
Yeah.
I feel like The Secret now is one of those things where it's everyone's initial self-help starting point, because it is quite new for a lot of people to sort of understand. But what everyone gets wrong is people think, oh, I believe in The Secret, have that positive mindset and you can manifest whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
Doesn't work that way, right? Just because you got a positive mindset, unless you are doing the action, it's like it's like hand in hand. You got to have the mindset, and then you also got to have the action to go with it. But a lot of people just think, well, if I just wait and think this way and write down my affirmations, then I'm going to get somewhere. And unfortunately, the universe rewards action. It doesn't reward your thoughts.
Yeah.
It's good that you have those positive thoughts, but unless you do the action behind it, it's not going to work. So, but it's kind of like, I love Tony Robbins, right?
Yeah.
I love Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
I think he's amazing at what he does. He's the best in the world, hands down, no questions. But he does sell a lot of feelings, right? So if I was to go to a Tony Robbins event, it would be amazing. I'd probably take some good notes. I'd love the whole experience, and I'd feel amazing.
Yeah.
But a week later, nothing's probably going to have changed, right? Because a lot of these self-help coaches now, and I'm sure you've probably seen loads of them, sell feelings, right? They don't sell practical, actual, statistical, useful advice a lot of the time. A lot of them do. But I just want to get your thoughts on, like, is there any self-help gurus that you follow or that you kind of have followed and then turned away from in the past? Like, has there been anyone that was an influence that stood out to you?
I can't think of anyone that I've followed and then not followed. I'm trying to think some names that I like. So yeah, Tony Robbins, obviously. I've not been to a UPW event. I've known people who have gone to them, absolutely loved them. However, exactly what you said there, I can't remember which one of my friends it was. But yeah, it was on such a buzz, and then it was almost like a come down.
Yeah.
Like a bit after, because they were like, because they've been like immersed in it. I think they do like 12-hour days for like 4 days or something. It might even be longer than that. So a couple of names that I do like, I really like Mel Robbins.
Yeah. I like her advice. I think I got a book for Christmas. Actually.
Yeah, I know she was sort of, she came to life after a 5-second rule that she did.
I think that's the book I've got actually.
Yeah, who else do I like? I'm trying to think.
Because she used to be, didn't want to get out of bed, wasn't it? And then she would like
count to 5. So that's how it started, because she had a lot of family stuff. I think she dabbled with a bit of depression and just like so much going on. And then she just suddenly was like, right, I'm going to start my morning. I'm going to count down from 5 to 1 because instead of counting up, you might get to 5 and then go 6, 7. Yeah. And then she got up and then snapped out of it. So then she, said, it's been scientifically proven, and that's how she started that. But no, I like her. I think she's very real as well. Yeah. And yeah, I like listening to her.
Who are some of the influences?
I know, I'm trying to think of
Gary Vaynerchuk's a good one.
Oh, yes.
He's very intense, but I do respect a lot of what he says. He's very real and very humble. I love it. Who else we got? I followed I actually met him. He was called Julian Blanc. I don't know if you've heard of him. So he went through a phase of being known as the most hated man in the world. He was basically pre Andrew Tate, right? He was the kind of the first person to be called the most hated man in the world and stuff. But I met him, and he's actually a really nice guy and has some good insights on life. I also follow Les Brown, Old School.
Oh yes, yeah.
He was the one that got me into the self-help world. Really,
was it?
He was the one that got me out of my little slump. Yeah. I'll not go into the story now, but it was his speech. You've got to be hungry.
Yes.
You gotta be hungry, and like put
I can hear his voice.
Yeah, he's got such a powerfully good voice. I think he's met Jim Rohn as well. we were laughing about his voice the other day, like because he's so it's like some buy and some don't. Do you know what I mean? I think that was a good impression.
In fact, you can talk that way the whole podcast.
Yeah. I'll be like, so Emma, I can't do it. His voice is so cool. But moving on from the sort of influences and stuff, obviously one of the things that I called you before was the smiler, right? Because a lot of people know you by your smile.
Yes.
As being very happy and positive. But what I want to ask you is, on a personal level, being known as the person that's always happy, right? Being known as the person who smiles a lot, who is always positive. How has that played a part in your development? Because to be known for something, but not always to feel that way, can be quite a daunting and not somewhat, maybe it's traumatic. I don't know. I want to ask your opinion on that. So being known as the happy person all the time, how has that kind of played a part?
Yeah, well, I can't remember. I think I've always been smiley, even as like a baby. I've always been like quite a smiley sort of baby, and now nearly 36. And I remember, especially now, is a lot of pressure because I used to be so hard. I mean, sometimes I am quite hard on myself still, but I used to be extremely hard on myself because if I was having an off day, if I had any, like, to me at the time, unwanted feelings where I felt a bit sad or whatever, I automatically thought, I can't show that because that's not me. If anyone sees the real me, they're going to be put off me. That's initially what the voices in my head said. And I would often, like, felt like I was putting on a mask. I was like, yeah. And then really inside at the time, I might feel like I was dying inside of it. That sounds quite dramatic, but, you know, just sometimes when, you know, the darker times, when I'm going through a lot, I didn't feel good. So now I am, again, going back to the word accepting, I am more accepting that no, and someone said to me, it was a couple of years ago, it was actually when I was at the opticians, he came up to me and he's like, God, he said, I see you on your videos and everything like that. And he's like, Christ, are you like just happy all the time?
Yeah.
Like some people sound generally, I think, almost get frustrated. And I think
offended by your happiness.
And I think some people do potentially. I've had people unfollow me and things like that because maybe this is another topic, being too much. And it's true. When I do my lives, I usually come from a place of very high energy because I get so excited about them and everything like that. And I love to, because I'm known for my energy as well. So, which is true, and it's me being me. However, the time, so I told this man at the time, I said, no, absolutely not. Yeah. I said, it's my default to be a sort of happy, smiling person. But I said, sometimes I feel like absolute shit.
Yeah.
And that's how it is. And I am honest and I do admit that. But it's about, as I talked about, being able to bounce back. And again, this is still like something I'm working on, is just allowing my feelings and accepting them, and also just thinking tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah. So
feel how you feel, do whatever you need to soothe, you know, self-soothe or anything, and then crack on the next day.
100%.
So so my natural default most of the time, yes, I'm smiling and happy, but definitely not happy all the time.
Yeah, fair enough. 2 cents. Ems, could you move that along a bit, because I'm getting blinded by the sun. Just to pause the podcast for 2 seconds. I'm getting like full on blinded by the sun. Oh, I can see now again.
I can see.
Oh my god, that's so good. I bet on the camera it looks great as well, and I can actually see again. Because you were just a little bit of like speckled blur in the distance there. But you're 100% right though. When people see you as something, you become this almost like. So for me, it was always obviously the motivational content. People would meet me and expect me to be the most happy, friendly, motivational person, and almost expect me to just burst out into a full-on speech every time they met me. And it's like, no, I drag myself out of bed sometimes. Yeah. I don't want to get up. I don't always want to be motivational. Sometimes I want to listen to death metal or, you know, something emo, you know what I mean? And it's like My Chemical Romance. Sometimes I want to listen. I don't listen to just, you know, Train or, you know, the 1975 or something. You know, I don't listen to this happy music all the time. Like, I'm not always motivational.
No,
I'm not always motivated, and people don't seem to understand that. They see you as what, like, especially when you've got an online presence. Yeah, that's what people see you as. Yeah, and when you break that, it's like, well, like they kind of lose a little bit of like, they stop seeing you as, you know, Emma Foley, the happy person, or Adam Proud, the motivational speaker. They see you as Emma or Adam.
Yeah, that's it. And I think I struggle with this because I actually, as a child, I used to be incredibly quiet. And again, a lot of people don't believe me now because obviously I can be quite out there, even, you know, like when I was going around interviewing people I, you know, I could get up and talk in front of people, like, no worries. But I still have a very quiet side of me. So sometimes I'm very quiet, and I know a lot of friends, and this used to like sort of trigger me quite a lot when I'd be having a quiet moment. My friends would be like, "Oh God, what's wrong with you? Are you okay?"
Oh, I get that all the time.
So that would really trigger me, and I don't think I was aware of how often I went there, because sometimes I'm just reflecting, or sometimes I just don't want to talk very much. Yeah. But friends like would also, so I used to take that as a negative and think, "Oh no, like they're not seeing me as my high vibe," and I thought, you don't have to be like that all the time. Yeah. You can be both of you. So it's like, not to say I've got a split personality, but just there's two sides. I've got my sort of high energy and I've got my soft side. Yeah. Hence why when I got into my guided meditations, I think that went really well, because that's that side of me.
But some people go, the front becomes too much. Like, obviously, social media is fake. We all know this. Like, everyone puts on a front. Like, if you meet me in person compared to when I'm online, I'm a little bit of a different person. I'm not completely different, but I'm different enough that it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
But it's like everyone has a front that they put on. It's just to what extent and how often they put it on. And I think for me as well, it's been a big thing that I've tried to overcome, of being the motivational guy all the time. Like, obviously, I haven't made motivational content for a while, actually. I do the podcast now. That's pretty much my thing. Because I wanted to move away from just being, shouting at the camera, live your life this way, do this, and selling feelings. I wanted to get people on and talk to people and spread content that was actually useful to people, that actually inspired people a little bit more than just being like, well, you're not drinking 2.2 litres of water a day. You are a piece of shit. You need to, do you know what I mean? And I was very into the aggressive self-help at first. Like, I was very much into like fuck your feelings and stuff. I still kind of am, but I'm not as aggressive anymore. But I've obviously been known as the motivational guy. But have you ever had something that you've said, I can't imagine it, but I'm going to ask it anyway, like taken out of context? Like someone's taken what you've said and kind of left you a negative comment or sent you a message being like, I don't agree with this? Or have you ever had any backlash for the stuff you've said?
Yeah, so when I used to do my dancing lives, it used to be quite often on a Saturday before I went to work, and I'd like put the music on and dance.
I remember, yeah.
And one of the main reasons I don't do that as much anymore is because Facebook goes crazy about it, and like Warner Brothers has
claimed your music. Yeah.
So it's just really annoying, because unless you manage to get the right sort of amount of talking over the music so they can't tell that you're using someone else's song. So anyway, one of my friends had shared my live onto her page, and someone on her friends list was like, well, she's really annoying, or something along those lines.
How does that make you feel?
So again, it's something I've worked on, is that, especially when I was a bit younger, is that I was a people pleaser, and I try so hard. I wanted to be liked. So there's that. I'd be lying if I said in me.
We all want to be liked.
Yeah.
Though.
So I'd be completely calling bullshit. I was like, oh no, I don't get bothered at all. So I think that was my first sort of incident where I was a bit like. So it didn't obviously feel good, because he'd gone off. He did write a whole paragraph about it. Oh, she's this and that.
Wow. So it wasn't just you're so annoying. It was a whole.
He wrote a paragraph. It wasn't like completely nasty, but clearly I'd irritated him quite a lot, and I just thought literally all I'm doing is to try and, I was being a bit daft and, being a bit silly, and so I thought, ooh. So I just thought, well, and I just had to keep saying to myself, repeat, you're not for everyone, and at the end of the day, going back to the power of one, if at least. Because some people used to love them, and they used to be like, oh, thank you. I used to get private messages saying, you are bonkers, like, you are crackers. Like, because they like that element, because it was just being like, oh, look at her, bless her. She's like dancing her socks off on a Saturday morning while I'm in bed. So. But
the only way you trigger people are really, like, know what, you're not supposed to be liked by everyone, and you're not supposed to like everyone. No. It's just one of those things. Like, but we all have that need to want to be liked, because, we come from tribes, we're supposed to be like, you would be kicked out if you weren't liked, etc., etc. But now it's like we have this over glorified sense of importance as well, I think. Us who make content, especially, because we get a little bit of attention, we get a little bit of likes, a little bit of a following, and we always think that we're a little bit more important to the world than we actually are and stuff. But it's like, we're just people who make videos. Like, you're just a woman who, helps people get fit, who changes their mindset, and dances on camera. I'm just a man who talks shit on a podcast for an hour and a half, and then goes home and plays Xbox. Like, we're not that important in the world, but everyone feels like their comment is valid. Now, I actually had one. It's funny. He messaged me out of the blue randomly. He was like, "Oh, I've seen your videos. Like, I just need a bit of help with my mindset and stuff." And I was like, "Okay, cool. What do you need, man? Like, let's talk." Like, I was all up for it. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I just don't feel very confident, very attractive." I was like, "Okay, give advice." A few back and forth, and he went, "Oh, I see I'm not going to name names. Let's call her Anna, right?"
Yeah.
Because we had a conversation about someone called Anna earlier. Let's call her Anna. He said, "Oh, I see Anna." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I used to work with her." And I was like, "Oh, are you friends?" He was like, "Well, kind of. Like, I've always been in love with her, kind of thing." And I was like, "Oh, cool, whatever." And then he started being really weird. Right, and he was like, "Could you help me like get with her?" And I was like, that's not really my area. Like, that's something that you kind of need to work on yourself. You know what I mean? I'm not getting involved in, I'm not going to be fucking playing Cupid. And because I refused to help him, he started sharing everything that I posted to his personal page. Calling me a nonce and a paedophile and a rapist. Just literally just this barrage of just like things, and like saying that just all this horrible stuff. And I didn't actually see it. It was a friend of mine who sent me a screenshot saying, have you seen what you've been tagged in? And it was just like, bro, like what the fuck? Like people are just mental. There's a few people that are just fucking mental. And it's like, I don't feel shame saying that. Like some people are just batshit crazy. Like some people get in the comment section just because they're in pain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, I get you're in pain. I get it, but you don't need to bring someone else down. People just love to see people get their come up and sort of to bring someone down, or, you know, and it's like, I understand that you're in pain. I understand that you're in pain. And you clearly don't like your life, but get the fuck off my Facebook page. Because it's not where you're supposed to be. You can ask me for help, and I will help you, or I'll send you to the right place. But if you just want to, like, there was, do you know Paul Mort? Do you know the name Paul Mort? So he's quite a big speaker. He's just from around the corner as well. And there was a video he made that went viral because he was suicidal back in, I think it was like 2014 or something, and he made a video talking about it and how he wanted to jump off this cliff and the end of Shields and stuff. And he shared it again, and someone in the comments basically said it's a shame that you didn't do it, or something to that extent. And it was like, he screenshotted that, Paul screenshotted that, named and shamed the guy, because he said, like, if people still get away with this level of abuse, like, he says, I can take it, but someone else, if you comment that on someone else, someone might not be able to handle that. And it was like, people need held accountable for their abusive comments for the most part. Like, I don't agree with cancelling people just for saying something wrong, but if you're telling someone to commit suicide or something like that, that's when it blurs the line between, okay, you should probably not do that. It's not okay. But I'm guessing you haven't had anyone say, Emma, you should fucking get a knife. Do you know what I mean? No one's ever said that to you.
Luckily.
Touch wood. But we spoke on the phone about personal demons.
Yes.
Right? Getting on with personal demons and negative cycles. So can you talk a little bit about the negative cycles that you've been in either recently or before, as much as you want to expand on?
Yeah, so basically for me, one of the ones was actually being in a relationship. Because
interesting.
Which some people might be like, what? Because I love being in the relationship, but a lot of my life I have been the single one, and you know, my friends have lived like through me and everything like that. And literally I'd been, until the relationship I'm in now, I think I've been single about 6 years again, and that mainly was out of choice, because after the last one I thought, right, I'm gonna have some time out. I'm just gonna work on myself a bit, because I've just been allowing my anxiety. This is before I knew any tools or anything like that. I was just allowing my anxiety to take over, and I was just driving myself like crazy, basically. So I did the work. Tried to do as much as I can. I dated a bit, but just really didn't really sort of meet the right person. And then since I've been in this relationship, it's all, again, you're always working on yourself, aren't you?
Yeah.
And
or you should always be.
Yeah, exactly. And it just highlighted areas that I thought I'd addressed, and then it literally came and bit me on the ass. And I just thought,
Can you expand on what those areas might be, or are you not wanting to go on that?
I guess it mainly stems from, from childhood. Sort of one of the things is, maybe, I'm not feeling that I was good enough in relation to other people, or like I had a slight fear of, rejection, which I know is common for a lot of people. So I think from being used to me just living my single life and going day to day, and then so I had someone else in the equation, and also the fact that it's long distance, which is really difficult.
Right,
So what I ultimately found, and which I've just managed to establish a nice balance, is that from just being used to me, I almost lost myself a bit, because I put so much onto my partner that I wasn't, as I said, I lost myself. So I'd stopped doing me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And
but that's really common in relationships.
Yeah, so common. And it's because it's in all honesty, it's my first proper long-term serious one that I've been in. Which may surprise, I know surprises a few people, because I know I'm nearly 36, but it's just how it worked. But I literally, it was kind of an all or nothing, and I went all in, which is good, But then in the end, it ended up having a slight negative outcome on me, and I just got consumed. So talking about the negative cycles, so I would have some days and I would get really anxious, and then I'd start reaching out more, and it's as though words couldn't comfort, and I knew I had to be my own comfort.
Yeah.
So as soon as I started ultimately stepping back, not as in away from him, but stepping back and having more like space, and then thinking about, okay, what do I sort of need? Because again, from the people pleaser element, I ultimately threw aside me and put it all on them. Like, am I making them happy? Am I doing this for them?
Yeah.
And I was like, hold on, you're totally neglecting yourself along the way. So I think that was, that got me into the negative cycles. And it's been, it's taken like months, probably just adjusting it's something new to me, new territory. But I guess I've realised my strength as well, resilience, and it's the pain into power. And I think it was just, with regards to the cycles, it was a mixture of that and the frustrations with business and things as well. So it was a little bit of everything. Also, I know it's common when it's darker in the winter months. A lot of people find it difficult when it's darker. I know I definitely seem to. Hence why it's so nice to see the sunshine today.
I know. Well, even though we're in this little alcove of the attic,
So, and also just not being frightened to reach out to people. So a couple of my friends have like been amazing, and I had my own therapy, which has been helpful again. And I know a lot of people used to be so frightened to admit they had therapy, but I think there's no shame in that. It's just anything that's going to help you or talk it out.
Well, I've thought about therapy too. I don't feel like I've got a massive issue that I need addressed, right? But it's funny that you mentioned the childhood thing, because one of the things that always bugged me when I was a kid, right? I like to nerd out.
Right.
I like to nerd out. So if something gets me passionate, it's really hard now to shut me up. But I remember I used to go down to the dinner table and stuff, or be with family or other friends or what have you. And I would want to talk about something. I'm like, I want to tell you what happened in this amazing show I'm watching, or I want to share with you my feelings towards this Xbox game or something, right? Yep. And I remember when I was a kid, and I love my parents. I'm not blaming them for anything. Like, this isn't me pointing the finger, but they used to tell me that it was boring to listen to, right? Now, parents have their own demons. You know, they might have just been tired away. We're like, just stop talking about shooting aliens for 5 fucking minutes, you little shit. You know what I mean? But I kind of stuck with me a little bit. And then when I started the videos and things like that, I think that's why I was so aggressive, because like I want to be heard. What I have to say is important. Yeah. And that's why it was so aggressive at first. And I think even now a little bit, like when I was on stage for South Shield's biggest mental health event. We don't know whether it was South Shield's biggest mental health event, but we call it that and ran with it. And even then I was like looking at the faces in the crowd, and you see the blank faces of people listening. Yeah. But I was still going, is what I'm saying like boring people? It's like you always have that sort of self-doubt. And I know probably a lot of people have that, like a lot of parents don't want to listen to their kids. They're kind of like, you just like, you know, whatever.
And I think that's the thing for me, is that like our parents have, like, I've been brought up well, like
same.
I love them to bits, but I almost felt, hence why I was quiet, that I wasn't I guess fully understood. And I feel like now I'm probably beginning to express myself. And I know, for example, when I did that Alfie Joey video, when I was in, like, he was interviewing me, and I showed my mum, I was like, oh, look what I've done. And the first thing she said, why would you do that? Because I was wearing the tutu. Why would you do that? Yeah. So it's like getting the balance. So I'm probably quite reserved in that side, but I have got that element, my crazy, outgoing side, which I love.
Which is the best side of you,
really,
which
I love to come to life. But that is, I think, that was when I was younger. That was in a box, so to speak. And I thought, I shouldn't be that way. I shouldn't, because it's too much. And too much. And I was even, and again, going back to the relationship thing, when I was back in the dating game, so pleased I'm not in that at the minute.
Were you on? Were you on Tinder and stuff? Were you on Tinder and stuff?
Man, Tinder and Bumble.
How did you find the dating apps?
Oh, I didn't like them.
Well, what didn't you like about them?
Well, I think they have a purpose, and I've actually got a couple of friends. where it's been really successful. Actually, one of them's getting married this year, and that was through
From
Bumble.
Tinder? Oh, from Bumble.
Bumble,
Nice.
which is great. Yeah, no, so it does work, and I did meet some all right people, but it's just I didn't know what ghosting was until
Welcome to the club.
yeah, and like I mean, I was actually full on stood up on a date once. Like,
Shit.
yeah, a nice little coffee and cake date. I waited for an hour, Adam, and then
What a bastard.
I know. And then I said to the lady in the end, I was like, "Can I get my red velvet cake now, please?" I just ate it. I was fuming. I was like,
shit.
"What a dick!"
Did you message him back being like, where the fuck
No,
were you?
I just left him. But
Probably for the best.
I was fuming. I've totally lost my train of thought about why I started talking about that now.
Because I asked you about dating apps as well.
Yeah,
I was like, how's
I
your
forgot what I was
experience?
saying.
It's alright. That's the case with the podcast. But I haven't been on dating apps for years. But I'm not. I was reading. There's a book called Dataclysm.
Not heard of that.
So it basically shows statistics about people's online searches. So you can basically, what people say and what they do are two different things.
Yeah.
So based on search histories and what people actually search for and stuff and how it works, it was something like 80% of men on Tinder are considered unattractive.
Oh.
Only 20% of men on Tinder actually get right swipes. So that because men will probably just sit there and go, yep.
Yeah,
Whereas women are a bit
everyone.
more picky. It's kind of like, it's just a funny little statistic.
I remembered where I was going with it.
Go for it.
Yeah, sorry, is that all right?
Yeah, go.
So basically coming back to the battles, you know, like the demons and
Yes.
that, from the dating apps, I know I was told in particular by one person that I was a bit much for him. So it's
in what regard?
So that that sort of thing stuck with me. I mean, you could ask all my friends. I am quite an animated, even messages. I love the voice note, as you know. I love the videos, and I'd be like, da-da-da. So I think I'd sent him a couple, and yeah, he just sort of said, you know what, I think you're a bit much for me. And so then I remember just at that time, I think my boundaries were down, and I just remember feeling awful. So certain things like stuck, so hence why, and then I'd obviously put it away. But then it's, you know, you are going to be too much for some people, but you won't be too much for the right people. So
Yeah, 100%. There's so much opportunity now for you to meet
Oh,
someone 100%. Like
yeah.
we forget that we've only had like 15 years of like Facebook and that
Yeah,
sort of
that's
dating.
true.
Like we had hundreds of thousands of years of trying to meet people. But the funny thing is, we like beforehand it used to be, you know, the head basketball kid at school and the top cheerleader. That was like that's how people met in school or they met through work. Now you've got a massive, like, you can find people on Tinder and social media that you would never ever meet in any other circumstances. There's just so much way to do it. So if anyone's out there going, well, I just can't meet someone, it's like, you need to look. There are people everywhere.
Yeah, there are.
I actually heard that Instagram is the best dating app as well. Apparently Instagram is considered one of the best dating apps because DM sliding into DMs is apparently considered a good way to do it now. And Instagram is almost like a business card for your life. So on Tinder or Bumble, you only get like 5 pictures or something, is it? Instagram, have a good Instagram.
That'll be why when you're on the apps, a lot of people put their Instagram like tag.
Yeah. I think apparently I've never used Hinge, but apparently Hinge has the most. Yeah. You can put questions or something.
You can. I did try it. I just didn't get on with it. So.
Did you have like a folder on your iPhone of just full of like, I've got Tinder, I've got Bumble, I've got Hinge, I've got plenty of fish, I've got this. I've got this.
You know what? Actually, so boyfriend currently, my name. So we started off as friends, and he used to call me Kellogg's, as in cereal. So he used to call me, all right, Kellogg's cereal data. And I wasn't, I wasn't, can I just get this straight? I was not a cereal data.
We don't judge you.
I did not see a man every single night, but I think it's just because.
Every other night, though. Every other night. Not every single night, every other night.
I wasn't going to really, say that, but yeah, no, but I think it's just because he just heard about different situations. That's funny. So,
that's the kind of level of banter that you want, though, in a relationship, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good, yeah.
Yeah, well, we going back to when we talked about acceptance before.
Yes.
And emotional intelligence is a big thing now. So I've got some terms here that just for anyone that's not aware of what emotional intelligence is, it's defined as the ability to understand, use, and manage your own emotions in positive ways to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, and overcome challenges and diffuse conflict. That is the definition of emotional intelligence. So signs of high emotional intelligence: you're assertive, ambitious, decisive, warm, sociable, consistent, and detailed, apparently. Signs of low emotional intelligence are aggressive, bossy, confrontational, selfish, stubborn, picky, and perfectionist. Now that last one's going to hit so many people home, being called a perfectionist, but it's kind of true. So what is your understanding of emotional intelligence? Because obviously you said you became quite aware of how you felt. You had to pull back. One of my favorite quotes is, "You can only launch an arrow far by first pulling it back."
Yes.
Which is obviously what you did. You stepped back. So how important was emotional intelligence for you? Like, how did you consider it emotional intelligence, or did you just manage to catch yourself and start to become more aware of your emotions?
So I think one of my strengths is I've got a really high level of awareness. So I can pretty much know straight away what's going on. And I'm getting, as I said, I'm getting a lot quicker at being like, right, recognizing and what can you do to try and get out of it. Sometimes it is a bit like, you're in the mud and you're like, oh, and sometimes you want to, wallow there for a little bit, just cause, you want to.
You're allowed to feel your emotions.
To. Yeah, I mean, sometimes, not that you want to have an extended pity party, but sometimes, you want to feel a bit sorry for yourself and be like, feel a bit rubbish. But then,
it's that exact thing saying, I feel a bit rubbish, I'm going to allow it, and then I'm going to move on from it.
That's
Isn't
it.
it? That's the key, is going, okay, it's okay to feel this way. I'm not going to stuff it down. I'm going to be 100% accepting of how I feel and my current circumstances. Because most people live in denial and don't want to accept things, and I think it is a little bit of the ego.
And I did for a long time. That's where I lived,
Did you have that ego protection of like, there's nothing wrong with me, I'm fine, I don't need to address this?
The mask. I just have to, the mask of the smile sort of thing.
Front. I just wanted to get into emotional intelligence because especially relationships is a massive roller coaster of emotions. Actually, I'm curious. So for anyone because I've heard a lot more people try in long distance relationships now that they can go on social media and find people across the world. So what sort of challenges has there been with a long distance relationship? Any challenges that you can speak of?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if I said I didn't find it difficult. It is difficult because obviously you want to be able to see your partner every week or a couple of times a week. Or say if you're having one of those moments where you're like, God, I just want a hug.
Yes.
And you can't just pop round and see them. You've got to be like, because literally there's 6 hours between us. So it's almost just sort of, just knowing that that's just how it is. However, the long-term goal, living together.
Yeah.
It's definitely brought up the sort of, it's just not convenient when you want to see the person. 100%. And again, I think sometimes when I think the main thing is we're really strong on communication. So we do chat, and thank goodness for the likes of, the mobiles, and we chat a lot. I think it's sometimes a lot different to seeing the person as opposed to hearing the person if you want to get a certain message across. Like sometimes I know that on both sides there's been an element of frustration. Say if one person's been pissed off and the other person's heard it on the phone and received it, and where it was if you're there in person, it's just a lot better, like how we are now, just communing directly face to face, getting it all out, whereas it's a bit different on the phone because you can't see their expression.
Just so much better. Apparently, I don't know whether it's 100% true, but the study is that you actually have better understandings and communicate better when you sat next to each other rather than front. That's why a lot of people tend to sit in cars as well. It's quite handy. Apparently it's from when we used to sit and hunt and we would crouch in a bush and be next to each other rather than front, which is quite interesting actually. I quite like the thought that being next to each other, and it gives you not so much that you can't, because you can't see their face and stuff like that, but I think it's just interesting that you say that as well.
I think patience as well. You've got to be patient and just know, because obviously if you're going to be long distance forever, there'll be no point. The outcome is that you'll eventually, one person will move. Or wherever, or you'll move to a location where you both want to go to.
It's cheaper up. I'm guessing he's not 6 hours north, he's 6 hours south, right?
South.
So it's cheaper up here, mate. Get up here.
It's alright. Well, he is. That's the plan.
We do trebles here in Newcastle. You guys don't do that down in London or wherever it is. It's fine.
Oh, he doesn't really drink.
Oh well, fair enough.
But he'll drink. I've tainted.
We'll get you a treble shot of water.
He drinks cocktails now sometimes. So.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. So it's fantastic. All good.
Amazing. So just to clarify, with relationships, I found a survey, and I want to get a little bit back and forth on this. So I found a survey that was the conflicts between men and women, right? Okay. So I thought this might be quite good to bounce back and forth on, just to give a little bit of an opinion on. So are you ready for this? So
I'm ready for this.
The first conflict, the most frequent complaint men have about women is that women are always trying to change them. Right. So what is your opinion on that conflict? Would you say that's a true statement, or would you contest that?
I can hear what they're saying, because I know, again, this comes to not seeing a partner in person. Sometimes with regards to needs, I'm super attuned to sometimes what I feel I need, or it goes back to, have you heard of love languages?
Yes.
Before? Yeah. And I know that's...
The 5 love languages.
Yes. Yeah. So I was taught, and again, anything like that, he says, oh, you're going on to your woo-woo shit again. That's what he says. He's very black and white,
right.
Whereas I'm kind of a bit more like, whoo, like, and he's a realist, and I'm quite, what's the word? I'm a bit delusional sometimes, and I can be in a bit of a fancy land, but with regards to changing them, I would never change him. Mm-hmm. But I'd be lying if there wasn't times where I'd almost prompted him to say a certain thing, or to hear what I wanted to hear. Right. And the response to that was like, sounds like you're telling me what to do or trying to change him. So I think there's the difference between trying to change the person and maybe sometimes prompting them to maybe what you need at the time.
Yeah. It's communicating effectively.
Yeah, so it's communicate, and you both have sort of your own boundaries, but I think you are with the person, you have to accept all of them. So if you're going to accept them, then you don't change them.
Yeah, well, my opinion on that is, if a woman is trying to change you for the better, go along with it. Like, if you are a fat slob who does not look after himself, who drinks a lot of beer, who doesn't go to the gym or whatever, and you've somehow managed to get a partner who doesn't drink and goes to the gym all the time, if she wants you to go to the gym, you get your fat ass up and go to the gym, because it was better for you and your relationship, 100%. Like, if I didn't go to the gym and my girlfriend told me get the gym, I'd be like, I'm going to the gym.
Yeah, that's it.
It's just but if she's trying to say, if she's trying to change you in a way that says, oh no, you don't need to go to the gym today, stay home with me and watch films, I'm a bit like, no, I'll get this done and then I'll watch films.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And it's like, if she's pulling you down, don't change.
Yeah. If
she's trying to improve your life, change. But other than that, if it's a case of, say for example, you and your boyfriend, you're trying to get him to move up here and he's trying to get you to move down there, there's got to be some sort of compromise in that situation. You're not trying to get him to change so much, and he's not trying to get you to change. You're trying to come together as a compromise, because that's what a relationship is. It's compromise. And 100%.
I know, talking about change, we both have changed, like since we've been in the relationship, but in a positive way. I've helped him, he's helped me in different ways. So amazing.
I love this one. The most frequent complaint about women that men have about men is men don't listen. Men don't listen. What's your experience with that one? You're smiling over there as well. Men don't listen.
I think sometimes that could be true. I feel, and I know I've pulled him up on this, like sometimes I feel like, I think yes, sometimes, or not necessarily is, if they think that women are like going off on a tangent about something and be like, oh, here we go. Well, or not fully, not hearing you fully because they can't appreciate, not that they have to fully understand your feelings, but it's hard for them to put themselves in your shoes.
Because us men want to fix things. Like, if you've got a problem, we want to fix it. And the hardest thing to do as a guy, and I struggle with this as well, is to say, do you need me to listen or do you need me to fix it? And that's one of the best lines you could probably use, is, do you need me to fix it or do you need me to listen? And a lot of the time it's, I just need you to listen to me rant about, Kevin from sales, who's a bit of a dick. Like, do you know what I mean? Sometimes you just need that. But it's quite hard as a man to like, it's not like I don't think it's that we don't listen. I mean, some men probably don't give a fuck, but I think it's the point that we try and fix rather than understand from an emotional point of view. And I think the first thing, what's the phrase? Don't try and change your mind, change your mood, then help her change your mind. So it's a case of like, because we're not women, women tend to be more emotional than men tend to be more logical than women. So we have this conflict, and it's if you can understand from a women's point of view that you want to make the mood better, you want to make her feel a little bit better first, and then try and fix the problem, you're probably going to have a better relationship. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would.
Fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
Next one, actually no, the next one was women want empathy, yet men usually offer solutions. That's basically the same thing. When a woman tries to change or improve or correct or give advice to a man, men hear that they are being told that they aren't competent or don't know how to do something, or that they can't do something on their own. That's quite. I can understand this this one a little bit. Men do have a bit of an ego problem, especially when
Yeah.
I don't even think it's just women that tell men that to give advice. Men just don't like taking advice from other men in general. But I think for this one, for me personally, excuse me, as a man, I know that I want to be able to take care of my partner, and I want to be able to talk properly would be a good one. I want to be able to provide and care for, so that I don't need to, she doesn't need to do a lot of stuff and what have you. So I get that being told that you're not doing something or not doing something can be a little bit of a hit to the ego because you want to provide and protect, etc. But have you had any experience with that one, in terms of you having to tell your partner that he's doing something wrong or he's not confident, or giving him advice in areas? How has he responded to that?
I think it's been sort of even. We've both sort of maybe given each other sort of a thumbs up, like maybe if you did this, that would benefit you more. So I think it's probably both of us done that to us.
It might be a case of saying, maybe you should try this instead of do this instead. Like, don't be stupid, do this. It's like, maybe you should try this. Have you tried this? A bit more softer communication.
Yeah,
maybe.
That's it.
That would probably be.
Yeah, and I think that was the dynamic again. The one thing I know I've taught him a bit is when it comes to language. Sometimes I know with me especially, I do need sometimes that bit of softness. Yeah. Depending on how I am.
Yeah. Some of these actually, now that I read them, are we've actually covered them in the last question.
There you go.
This one is housework.
Oh.
Men avoid it. They try to get others to do it at all costs. Feel demeaned doing it. For women, cleanliness of house is a manifestation of warm, homey nest. Men and women are different thresholds for cleanliness and dirt. That is kind of true, because I always remember my mum used to, when I was little, she'd be like, that's dirty. And I'm like, no, it's fine. What are you talking about? And she's like, that's dirty. That's got dust on it. That's this. And she'll like run her finger over and show me a load of dust. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I do feel like we have different visions of what's clean and what's dirty.
Well, this is like complete opposite for him, because he is a neat freak.
Right.
He's tidier than I am. He's very domesticated. He has like a...
You have a keeper. No wonder you want
to I know. Don't tell him that's the only reason I'm with him.
You found the one guy down south that's clean. You're like, I want to keep him, Mama.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's spot on. I can't fault him without that.
I think it's true. I think I like to do sort of, as a man, I like to do what I would consider bigger tasks. So I end up leaving a lot of like household stuff, and like I rarely make my bed. I know it's shocking, but it's not something that I truly care about. I think it comes down to what you care about and the way. Yeah. And personally, like I'm not like, I don't live in a shithole, right? My house is cool. It needs a bit of cleaning, but it's not a shithole, right? Yeah. But some men are genuinely just don't give a shit, and I think it also comes down to, for that as well, taking care of yourself as a man as well.
Yes.
And a lot of men now do actually, a lot of men do go to the gym now. They do take a lot more care in their physical appearance as well. But there's a lot of guys out there who just don't. They're just, their hair's their hair's greasy or like unkempt, or they smell. I've met a lot of dudes that just stink. Yeah. And it's like, oh, it's manly smell. It's like, men don't smell like tramps' arseholes. Sorry to break it to you, but men don't. So what about in terms of that? Have you met many men that don't take care of their physical appearance, or do you kind of avoid those men? You're on Bubba, like, he looks like he smells like shit. Like,
Swipe left.
Swipe left, yeah.
I had to think about the right way. I was like, don't say
right.
Like,
is it right or left? Yeah.
That would have been awkward. I
like a man that smells white, right?
Oh, yeah. A fetish for it. No, I've not really. I can't think of anyone who I've met who's really sort of like neglected them themselves in that way.
Well, we mentioned earlier, when you get in a relationship as well, that it's quite common for you to both almost let yourself go, quote unquote. So you see quite often, like, I've seen people get into relationships on Facebook, right? I'm like, oh, good for you guys. And it's like the two pictures side by side, right? And then you see them like 8 months later, and they're like really fat now, and like they look like shit, and so what the hell happened to you? You're supposed to grow together. Yeah. But it's that level of comfort, and I think that ruins a lot of relationships. It's too much comfort. Yeah. It's too much like, oh, let's stay in and have pizza. Yeah. Because we're not trying to impress anyone anymore. Yeah. I know a lot of women say they prefer dad bods. I think that's a load of bullshit, personally. I'm like I think there's a limit. Like, dad bods are, a sign of comfort, familiarity. They're a sign of, this guy's probably gonna kind of stay. If you,
Yeah.
because I can't remember the book, but they talk about dad bods and then versus six packs and stuff, and it's kind of like apparently if a woman's looking for a long-term mate, she goes for a dad bod.
Right.
But apparently, if a woman's looking for a bit of fun or an experience, they go for a guy who's ripped and got abs because they tend to be more they've got a higher energy level, really. And I found that really interesting. What kind of men are you? Do you go for? Because I think I've seen a picture of your boyfriend. He's quite muscular. He's very tall, isn't he?
He's very tall. There's a whole,
he seems like he's very tall.
There's a whole foot difference. He's 6'5".
Nice. Jammy, I am 5'8". I fucking hate people over 6 foot.
Damn it. So no, I think because we did have this chat about sort of when you're getting in a relationship and some people let themselves go, but both of us, because he's very into looking after himself. And like his health as well, literally.
Good, yeah.
So it's really good because both of us haven't actually let ourselves go. We've just sort of carried on, and both of us do like to stay healthy and and not lose that like attraction and not become too comfortable that we're not doing anything.
Well, that tends to be what happens as well. Like you get comfortable together, and then one of you goes, I don't actually want to have sex with you anymore because I don't find you as attractive. I know we're together, and it causes a lot of problems, like for like eating too much, because like we spoke about earlier, convenience foods that you can get. If you get in a relationship and you let yourself go too much, there's going to be a point where one of you doesn't find the other attractive anymore.
That's the thing, yeah.
And it's not like I actually wrote a post about this a few years ago, and I got so much shit for it. Going back to getting hate on a post, I got so much shit for this. Loads of women came out of the woodwork about this as well, and I was a bit shocked that no men really blasted it. A few men liked it as well, like this, they agreed with it. But it was basically, if you're starting to find your partner unattractive for physical reasons, as if like they're getting too fat or they're not looking after themselves, tell them. And people hated that. I got so much hate for it, and I'm like, why? Like, if you're in a relationship with someone and you've committed to this person and they're starting to let themselves go, but you're kind of if you're not looking after yourself as well, then tell yourself that as well. But if you're looking after yourself and they start letting themselves go, tell them that, because it's going to give them a little bit more motivation. If you don't tell them, you're going to end up resenting them and you're going to leave.
Yeah.
It's like, if you really are committed to the relationship, you should be able to communicate that effectively.
Yeah, I think it's all about how you direct it. How you direct it.
Like, you don't go up to them and go, you're fucking fat. Go on the fucking treadmill.
I think it's more if you're getting it across that for the health aspect and making them feel better. Like that's
because you in a relationship you should want the other person to do well. You should want them to be fit and healthy. You should want to do that for yourself as well. It's not a case of just because we're comfortable now we can let ourselves go. It's like you want to be growing constantly. I want to get better with age, not worse. And I feel like a lot of people, as they grow older, they go, oh, well, I can let myself go because that's the thing, right? I want to be jacked in my 50s. Yeah. I want to be a 50-year-old silver-bearded fox, right? Because I'm not going to have a silver fox haircut, obviously, but I want to have like a grey beard, and I want to be, good looking in my 50s. I want to live a little bit longer and feel good, long into my retirement as well. I don't want to get to, I'll probably have knee problems and stuff from squatting and stuff like that, but I'm open to that. But as long as you and your partner still look after themselves, I think your relationship will be prosperous. 100%. Okay, Emma, it's been amazing having you on. I've loved this conversation. I had a few more questions, but I'm running out of battery life and time for this. So where if people want to follow you and see your live videos and your whoops, where can people find you?
So literally Emma Foley, type that in. I'm on Facebook. I'm Foley Adventures on Instagram.
Nice.
And then if you type in the Feel Good Tribe, I'm always welcome to have new people. So
men and women, right? Not just women and girls.
Men and women in my Feel Good Tribe.
Yes.
And then obviously, if anyone wants to work with me, if they need a bit of encouragement, motivation, it's ladies. I've got a boot camp, do PT, and I run a little women's group. So yes.
Amazing. So you've got a lot going on, basically.
A lot going on.
But yes, thank you very much, guys, for listening. And if you enjoyed it, please hit the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, Apple Music, please give us a 5-star review. Please, 5 stars. None of this 4-star crap. Like, just 5-star it. Don't be a dick. 5-star. Yeah, Emma's holding my hand. 5 stars. And I will see you guys in the next episode. See you soon.